everyone, so we finally did it. We have completed another year of this ongoing series that I've been doing since year 10. Well, I did start in year 9, but I didn't complete it for some reason. I only did 2 videos, so that doesn't really count. But 5 consistent years of doing these videos. In this video, I'm going to be tying up everything relevant to my first year of university, discussing the grades I had, anything I've done in between, and leaving my accommodation. As of recording this, I leave tomorrow. So let's start with my results for the overall year. Because throughout the year, I've been banging on about this bar chart that I've made, with every assessment mark that we've had added to it. I've been adding to the bar chart as the year has been going on. Everything we've done is marked from 0 to 100, with 70% being a first, which is the best grade boundary, then 60 for a 2-1, 50 plus for a 2-2, which is it's still a really good grade boundary, and then a 40 plus being a 3, which is alright, but then anything below would be a fail. One day I was talking to Ewan about when we would get our results back, and Ewan found that on the university website it announced that they would drop our grades on the 26th of June. I had been waiting for this day for ages. I already knew my results because we told how we did on each assessment throughout the year, so I wasn't worried so much as I was excited. The 26th arrives, I go onto the website not long after I've woken up. It wasn't like with college where we had an email in the first year with our results, or like where we had to go into the building to collect our results. Instead, we had to log into our accounts and go on the results service. And on there, it had a list of all the stuff that I did. So like each assessment for the first year of my degree, and also the Welsh one, but I'll talk about in a minute. Because there are 4 main things, technically 5, 4 main modules for my degree, but then the Welsh module as well. But that's separate because I got paid £250 for doing an additional 5 credits of work, but in Welsh. So the bargain, right? I've been paid for that I paid for it a while ago, but it was still a really good course. But on the Welsh module, which was bonus, I had a 2-2. So not bad, I'm doing Dal and Dusky Cymraeg, I'm still learning it. I'm not going to bother resitting it because I passed it. It doesn't go towards my degree, the main reason I'm going to uni, and I got paid, so jolly time. So that's a success in my book. The other 4 modules are completely separate to that and are to do with the main actual degree, and I'm going to discuss them now. So the first one that came up was the Perspectives module, aka the theatre reviews, PowerPoint performance and the video essay, where I had 70, 77 and 68 marks respectively. Those assessments are weighed differently though, with the PowerPoint being weighed at 40% of the module, whereas the other 2 were only 30% each. I don't know how this works mark-wise, but those marks altogether, with their weighting, got me 72 out of 100, which for that module is a first. So I was very happy with that. The next module was Prac Lab, my favourite module by far. This was the Beautiful Creatures show, the show logbook, the solo PowerPoint and the group mini performance, where I had 85, 68, 70 and 75 marks, each weighed at 25% each. So I had 75 out of 100 overall for this module. I don't know how the weighting system works, but that's what I got. I did love this module altogether, apart from really the solo PowerPoint, but hey ho. The Beautiful Creatures show has been my favourite thing, the best thing we did throughout the entire year. I loved it. Being in Vubu, the happiest hippo, was a great treat. I loved playing it. I've got our recording of the show saved and downloaded with all the acting work I've done. And in that module I got a first, so very happy. The next module was the Greek theatre module, which took ages. It was only 2 things, but it took ages and we struggled with it a lot for reasons, because we started it in September, and it was meant to be over by January, I think, but then it got postponed to the end of April for reasons. This module was weighted 70% for the performance and 30% for the blog that we did. In both I got 70, so overall I had 70 out of 100 on that module for a first, and then the final module was the research-based one, where we did that portfolio and an essay, and it weighed at 60% for the essay and 40% for the portfolio. On the essay I had 70 out of 100, and on the portfolio I had 74, so overall I had 72. I was very happy with that. So in every module, in order from low to high, I had 70 in the Greek theatre-based module, I had 72 twice in the research-based one and the perspectives, and then 75 in the prac lab one. But we don't get an overall grade for the first year of uni, we just get like a pass or a fail, right? But it's annoying because whatever you do in your first year, whatever you get, doesn't even go towards your degree. So it's really annoying. I wish like, if it was like a small amount, like 10% of the overall thing would go towards it. Or even if it was optional to, but yeah. It's easy enough to work it out that what I would have had by adding up the final module marks, so 70 plus 72 plus 72 plus 75, and then dividing by 4, which gives me 72.25. Or adding up my marks for each individual assessment and dividing by them all, which is 11. So doing that gives me 797, shared by 11 is 72.4.
That would be approximately 72.5455.
I double checked this because I don't know how it works, or whichever one is more accurate, I don't know. Let's round downwards to 72 marks either way, which is above the 70 threshold, meaning I would have had a first, but it doesn't count. I'm very happy with how this first year has gone, and I know I've put in a lot of work. I've enjoyed the vast majority of it, and this was only helped by the fact that I've had my accommodation to help me, because it's so much easier not having to rely on public transport, and an amazing class that supports each other. I've still got this in a frame from when we did Beautiful Creatures. I really do hope that next year my marks are just as good or better, hopefully. I really hope so. But that is all of my marks and the overall grades that I got for this year. That takes you up until about the 26th of June so far, but uni doesn't start back until September-ish. I don't move into my accommodation, my new one, till the middle of August. So, yeah. As of this point, everything I've already said was written at the end of June. Now I'm updating the video on the 24th of July. It's the 24th of July as I record this as well. So, it's been a month. What's been on lately? Well, throughout this month, and indeed last month, I've been doing a lot of acting work for several TV shows. I can't say which ones yet because there are rules. You can't say what you're going to be in until its initial broadcast. Because as an SA, a supporting artist, you have to sign to say you're not going to release images or any info related to you being on whatever you're doing, including plot spoilers, the fact you're even on the show. You can't even put pictures online until after it's been broadcast. But I can tell you I've done 4 SA jobs and a short film. I've been busy because doing nothing for a month bores me and was driving me mad. I've been raising money as well by doing these essay jobs and by doing medical roleplay, which is quite enjoyable. For the medical roleplay thing, it depends on what the exam is about, because I'll either be given a sheet that's got like what's wrong with me, how long I've had it, symptoms and all that, and then the medical student will come to me and they'll ask me what's wrong with me, and like they'll ask me questions, and then I've got to look at my sheet and give them the relevant information. So it's like I'm a patient for them. Either that, or it's a physiological, I think, exam where like today I've been doing medical role plays. For today yesterday and the day before, and it was a physiological one. And in their exam, what they do is, it's an hour long, and for the first half an hour, they talk to an examiner, and the examiner will go, right, so pick a brief, because they have an option of different briefs, and there's different patients with different things wrong with them. They'll pick one, and then the examiner will be that patient, so they'll give all the info. So like, I've come in here, I've got a sore stomach, I've been sick, and all that. It wouldn't be like that because it's a physiological one, but as an example. And then, so once they've had all the information, then they'll move on to the next part of their exam, which is a 20-minute thing, and they examine me. So it's just like taking my pulse and like, can I lift up my arm? Can I bend my arm like that? Just to check I can, to make sure like my arm's not dead or whatever they do. And then for the final 10 minutes, they have to relay it back to the examiner. But like, whenever they're doing all this stuff, asking me to do it, the examiner will be like, your patient is experiencing pain when you do that, or that. Or like, it hurts 6 out of 10 on the Oxford scale, or whatever it is, when you do that. So they talk on my behalf. I'm meant to be there as essentially a human dummy. I don't say anything. Yeah, I am literally just there as a living dummy. But it pays well. It's quite enjoyable, I suppose. It's quite interesting seeing how they mark exams. I find that quite interesting. But yeah, because I'm not told what's wrong with me, so I haven't got a clue. I am just the human dummy, and the medical student has to show how they would carry out certain things. Last month I was there from the 15th to the 17th of June, and now this month I've done it from the 10th to on the 10th, and then the 22nd to the 24th. It is quite fun, it does pay well, and it is good because my driving test is coming up, right? And if I pass, I'm going to need money for a car and insurance and all that jazz. I've been learning to drive since the start of college. That's insanity. I spent about a year and a half struggling in manual, and now in about like a third of that time, 6 months in an automatic, I've got my test booked and I think I'm test ready, or almost. It's going to be in August, so just before we go back for round 2 of uni, so hopefully I'll have passed. Hopefully. My driving test, as of writing this and recording this, is in 20 days. I am terrified. I need it all to be over now though. I have been through this hell for 2 years. Although we have done 3 mock tests and I've only passed 1. But I put that down to nerves because it's stuff I can do, but I get nervous and I double guess myself and I panic. And driving is the hardest thing I have ever had to learn and do, because you have to have someone there to support you, obviously, and rightfully so. But the more skilled that person is, the better, obviously, to try and keep me alive, stop me from killing myself in the car, in a metal death box. But having someone who's brilliant at driving, keeping you safe, making sure you're being safe, it's good, but it's a bit nerve-wracking. But I really want to pass. The day I pass is going to be, quite frankly, one of the best days of my life. 2 years building up to the day, and it's in 20 days. I really hope I pass. Yeah. Now, I've actually recorded this the day before I'm moving out of my accommodation. So all of this you see around here, I've got to pack away. Because tomorrow my mum is coming down and I'm packing it all up to go home. The place is still mine until the 31st of August, because that's what you paid for. It's a bit of a silly system, because I've got to pay for the time I'm not here. But whatever. I'm not personally paying for it. It's my grant and loan for uni. But still, it would have been nice to have kept the money for next year. But we live on. I better start tidying because I've got, well, an afternoon to do so.
I want it.
And there we go. As you can see, I've just been tidying up all the stuffs over there. I do still have a few things out, so I'm not going until tomorrow. And I got to do my bathroom and take my duvet and all, but that's like last minute things to do. The majority of my stuff, the wardrobe, under the bed, the shelves, the drawers, you know, they're all done. And the floor I've given a little sweep as well. So, yeah. The end of an era. Now all of that I've said before was written and recorded before the 25th. It was recorded the day before I filmed all the time-lapse stuff of me initially packing away and writing down, and it was written down over the weeks beforehand, but I never ended up moving out because of reasons. So on the 25th, I wasn't moving out. I still had all my stuff here, although it was a bit messier. So, yeah, all good, just things got delayed, that's all. So I ended up staying in Cardiff, on and off, because sometimes I came back home for 2 weeks. I ended up doing quite a lot during, well, I think more 3 weeks actually. I ended up doing quite a lot during these 3 weeks, and I would have some brilliant experiences and trips. It was, in a way, it was sort of like a holiday. I mean, besides whether or not I used this room, it was mine until the end of the month. I couldn't get refunded on the time I wasn't using the room, so I might as well have used it. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, during the 3 weeks, I would end up commuting quite a bit, but this was paid for because of reasons. But I'd look after the dogs, help around the house, I'd go to work, and yeah, just to keep my money up. And then after work, I'd go to the train station and then back here in Cardiff. On the 24th, I would pack all my stuff, expecting then to be the last main day that I would use the room. But just in case, I wouldn't give in my fob, because the room was still mine until the end of next month, and it's handy to have if I get extra work here in Cardiff or indeed elsewhere. I did one in Neath, I might be doing one in Bath, I did one in Oxford, but living here in Cardiff by Cardiff Central was so convenient. And yeah, I've had loads of bags by the door for ages, but because I ended up staying, I just left what I didn't need by the door. And I took out what I needed as and when. But it was easy enough. It was just looking through bags, seeing what I put where and when. And yeah, all good. But on the 25th of July, I had nothing going on. I thought I'd be home, but I wasn't. So I went for a walk down Cardiff Bay, because I didn't want to just stay in my accommodation. And I saw that they had the mini fair in Cardiff Bay, so I had a look. And it wasn't bad, you know. I went only on one thing, because money was a little bit expensive. I went on this like carousel thing that was a boat, and it would go quite bumpy, quite fast. That was fun. They got the fair in Cardiff. Yeah, so I'm on the whatever this is. I didn't want to spend a lot of money on other rides or food there, which was like £5-10-ish. I didn't want to spend a lot of money because although objectively that is quite cheap for what it is, what you'd expect, it's still a lot of money to spend. But it was a nice few hours out. It was better than just being in here all day, every day for the last 2 weeks. I did have a Greg's hot chocolate free and a sausage roll, so only $1.25 for the both. So that was a bargain, right? Much cheaper than if I had got something of that fare. On my travels, I came across an old sign that hadn't been replaced in years, it seems. The old Doctor Who experience. It shut down years ago, and I only went once before I was into Doctor Who. So, of course, I didn't take much notice, which was a huge mistake from past me, and I've regretted that for a long time because I can't remember what it was like. I do regret not taking more notice in that Doctor Who experience, but now it's gone. But yeah, during this time I did quite a lot of acting and essay work as well. I can't say what for, because when you do, you sign to say that you're not going to spoil anything, including your own appearance. Like if you show a photo of you online in a costume, then that might give yourself away and whatnot. But no matter how brief you're in it, or even if you're not in it, even including photographs, you can't share anything until after the initial broadcast. But yes, I did some acting, did some essay work. What I can show you are random photos of different ones. I can do that as long as they don't spoil what I look like or the set or stuff. But on one of the jobs, I really got my steps in. I had to walk to Cardiff Central, get the train at like 6 o'clock in the morning, so I was up at 5:30, and I got the train to Newport, and I had to walk like an hour and 20 minutes just to get to the acting job, and then after it happened, an hour and 20 minutes back. But I wouldn't have been able to do anything else. I wouldn't have been doing anything else, so why not, innit? I genuinely did do quite a lot of work over the 3 weeks or so that was quite nice. I often have to turn down acting work while I'm in uni, so it's great to more than make up for it. I'm still moving back into my normal room. I haven't done a video with this backdrop for ages. I also did a photo shoot for a student accommodation in Oxford, which was exciting. I think I can say that. I'm allowed to say that. Yeah, it was a lovely trip to Oxford, where I walked around in some shops, had some ice cream, bought some shoes, and I got paid quite a bit for a few hours of work before commuting back home again. I know I went to the pub, bought some ice cream, went to some charity shops, saw the views. It was really nice. It was a smashing day. The train, commuting, walking around Oxford, taking photos and looking around, meeting new people during the actual photo shoot itself, going to Oxford train station and playing the piano there and meeting a new person and playing the piano with them. That was quite nice. Really out of my introversion there to do that, but it was really nice. It was a great experience. And then I got back to Cardiff. I went to the Eisteddfod. I can't remember which day it was. It was on a Thursday. Future me will have edited the information there. I loved it. I said it was great. It was a chance to defnyddio fy iaith Cymraeg, to use my Welsh language. So yeah, it was great. There was music, there was dancing, the opportunity to siarad Cymraeg, to speak Welsh. Casey, some freebies. I had some freebies. Yeah, it was a great few hours out. Quite cheap too for what it was. I mean, £23 or a Didig Tree Punt. Just to look around and really really immerse myself in Welsh culture. It's brilliant. Yeah, that was a great experience. What else did I do? I studied lots of acting jobs, the fair. So all of that happened, but the most important thing for me happened on the 13th of August. So on the 12th, I actually stayed at my nan's because it was a bit easier to get back home in time quicker, and I wouldn't have to get up so early instead of being in Cardiff, because it was quite late and all that. But on the 13th, I woke up at about 9 o'clock-ish, I think. I had my breakfast at nan's, and I walked to the bus station. But just before getting on the bus, because the bus station is right next to the town centre, and I was looking, because I saw, from when I was learning to drive, I saw this thing where people would have a banana before their test with the idea that it would help. And I'm not a superstitious person, I'm really not, but if it was going to work in my benefit, then I didn't mind believing for a few hours. So I was there in the town centre looking around shops trying to find a banana, because I wanted to buy a banana to eat it, obviously, before the test. Throughout the time that I've been learning to drive for the last 2.5 years, I've been seeing like clips on YouTube and TikTok of when people did the test and they swore by having a banana beforehand. I'm not superstitious or anything, but if it's going to work to my benefit, then for once I'll make an exception. And I really want to pass. I hope I do. I really, really hope I do. It's in 2 hours from now. So yeah, I bought my bananas. First I went in Poundland and they didn't have any. Then I went to Home Bargains and they didn't have any. So I went to Heron Foods and they had but 3 food shops, and only the one had bananas. Mental. But yeah, anyway, here's hoping. The first shop I went to was a supermarket, and they didn't. Is Poundland a supermarket? I think so. But Poundland didn't have any. Then I went into Home Bargains, and they didn't have any either. 2 shops didn't sell bananas. Well, they did sell them, but they were out of bananas. Then I went to Heron Foods, and they did have bananas. So I bought them. They were 5 for £1. I didn't really want 5 bananas, but it was fine. I got my bananas, and I went on the bus, and that's where I ate my banana. I got back home at about 10 o'clock-ish, I think. So I had an hour to prepare for myself. But the day before, oh my god, I was stressing out, because if I failed the test, maybe I did, I haven't told you yet, but if I failed, that would have been months, or maybe it will be months, depending on whether I passed or not. I'll tell you in a minute. But it would be months until I could rebook it, probably, unless I found a cancellation, but that's unlikely. And even if I did manage to, it's like £150. It's £65 to actually book your test, but then to use my instructor's car for 2.5 hours, it was £90. So I'd rather not do it again. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, had my banana, got on the bus, hour to prepare, and then the hour happened. My instructor pulled up outside. I got in, I adjusted the seatbelt on, got ready, and we drove off. My instructor knows I was really nervous. He knew I was really nervous. And generally, I can drive, but when I get nervous, then I start making mistakes. Not nervous as in, oh my god, I'm on the road, I'm terrified. I mean nervous as in having an expert watching you do everything, especially if he's the one that taught you most of your stuff. It's quite terrifying. I don't know whether that's a thing or not, but having someone watch you do everything, it puts more pressure on you, and it's like, do you know what I mean? I mean, he's a lovely bloke. I love my instructor, my second one, the one that I did the test with. I love him. He's a brilliant man. A lot better than my first instructor, where I did manual. But yeah, so we were driving around, sort of pre-match pep talk, if you will, and my test was at 12:15. We arrive at the test centre. We go inside then. It's quite a small room. I don't know if you've seen my room in general, but it's probably about the same size as my room, I'd say. And there were 6 seats, 3 lots of 2, or there was like 2 there, 2 there, 2 there. 3 learners, 3 instructors. So yeah, there's that. All sat around a coffee table, sort of. Was there a coffee table? Yeah, there was. Yeah, because people signed the thing. And then the examiners walk in, because there was 3 examiners there for 3 learners. That's how it goes, I imagine. and one of them called my name. So then what will happen then is I had to show them my licence, my provisional licence. I have to sign this thing on an iPad to say that all my information was correct. And I was doing the test and whatnot. And then he goes, right, okay, thank you, Jamie. Could follow me outside? I do. The first thing we do is an eyesight test. So, generally, my eyes are pretty shit. I can barely see in this one. It's very blurry, and this one's quite short-sighted. So when I learn to drive, I have to wear my glasses. I could have just been wearing my glasses, but I didn't. I did this instead. But yeah, when I'm driving, I legally have to wear my glasses, or I'm not allowed to drive because my eyes are that bad. I passed the eyesight test pretty easy. I knew to expect that. I've watched a lot of mock tests on YouTube where people do all of that, so I knew roughly what to expect. Then he says, "Okay, set yourself up in the car. I'll be a few minutes," and he just sort of goes around the car inspecting what it was. I don't know what they do, but then I was in the car, right? Phone off. Well, that's all tidy. That's already set up, and yeah, he gets into the car. He puts his seatbelt on. I ask him then. Oh no. Then he says, "All right, so during this test, I will ask you some things. The show me, tell me questions. If I don't say anything, you go straight ahead. Follow." He says whatever he says.
It's going to be between 38 and 40 minutes. It's going to include some independent driving. It's going to take in various road and traffic conditions. And I'm going to ask you to do a manoeuvre. And it may include the emergency stop. I now want to ask you a safety question. How do you check your power steering? How do you know if there's a problem with power steering?
You feel...
We're going to start the test by following the sat-nav. If you're not following the sat-nav during the test, I would like you to follow the road ahead unless road signs direct you otherwise, and if I want you to turn left or right, I'll tell you in plenty of time. You okay?
Yeah.
So you can move off when you're ready. You can follow the sat-nav now.
Right. And then that's it really. He says, right, when you're ready. So I begin, and we begin driving. As soon as I start the test, I was really nervous because I really didn't want to fail it. But as soon as we started as well, there was something. I thought it was going to be a struggle at the start because as we come out of the test centre, there was another car who took the turn into the test centre quite late, so they were a bit on our lane. So I had to stop, and then they had to do that. Of course that happened on my test, didn't it? Of course it did. So I had to stop there, watch them. I can't remember if they carried on going in or if they reversed out. I don't think they would have reversed out, but I can't remember. But eventually, we carry on. The rest of the test, then, as it went on, went gradually easier. During the test, they ask you two questions, one to show me and one to tell me. It went alright. The questions were, can you show me how to do the rear demister, I think? And the tell me was, how would you check your tyres, condition and tread depth? I passed them. It went alright. We did, roundabouts, different speeds, 20 miles an hour in streets, 60 miles an hour on a single carriageway. Place, in between. Our manoeuvres were the emergency stop. I don't like doing the emergency stop, but you need to be able to do it. You're driving along, and the examiner tells you beforehand, right, we're going to do the emergency stop. So when I do that, and I'll say stop. So when I do stop, you stop as soon as you can safely. And the examiner would make sure beforehand, checking all around, that there was nothing coming. So, driving along, he says stop. Like that. And then you got to go into neutral and says, thank you. I won't ask you to do that again. Although he's looking that side at me, the driver. Thank you, I won't ask you to do that again. Pull off when it's safe. So then you go to set off and you're doing your things. You look all around. You blind spots all around because you stopped. drive off, move, and go. That was the emergency stop. That was okay. And the other manoeuvre we did was park up on the right, and then you got to reverse 2 car lengths. That was decent too. And then he goes, "Thank you, move off when you're ready." And we do. And then eventually we pull back into the test centre. But that test happened a lot quicker than I thought it was. It didn't feel like 40 minutes, because the whole thing's an hour, but that's including your pre-test stuff. So it's signing your name, the eyesight test, whatever they do and all that. It went all right. Oh, and also after the test, the paperwork that they do. We pull back into the test centre. I just drive in straight to one of the bays, stop the car. That's all. Yeah, I'm trying to think then. Stop the car, go into neutral. Because if you were driving a manual, you would go into neutral by using the gear stick. But because I'm using automatic, what you do, put your foot on the brake, go into neutral by pressing the button on the side, and then engine off. There's not even any keys, it's great. You use the key to lock and unlock the car, but to start the car, you put your foot on the brake, and you just press the engine. So we stop the car, and he goes, "Thank you, that is the end of your test." I was so nervous, and I was like looking at the examiner, and I looked down, and on the iPad it said pass, but I didn't want to get my hopes up. I didn't want to do that, so I carried on looking at him, and he goes, "Right, congratulations, you have passed your test." At the time, I was in shock. It was like, what? I was that shocked, but I didn't say what. It was like I passed, and then he went, "You look surprised." I went, "Yeah, I've been learning for 2 years." Oh my god, I can't. I always gonna remember that. Not long after, my instructor then come out, and my instructor and the examiner talk to each other. They're nice. They talk to each other as my examiner writes my certificate. He fills it out. I get given it, and I'd given in my professional license. I'd give that back in because they shred it, and then a few days later, today it's arrived in fact. On the 16th, so 3 days later, my proper license arrived. But yeah, I've got my certificate hanging up on the wall there, right next to my theory test one. I love that. I passed my theory on the 7th of July last year, and I passed my actual test on the 13th of August. So 13 months and 6 days in between them. Mental. Altogether, I've been learning to drive for about 2.5 years. It took that long, but the satisfaction and the relief of finally passing after such a long time, oh my god. Such a relief, such a huge achievement, possibly the biggest achievement I've ever had in my life. That goal took me 2.5 years to achieve. I'm forever going to be proud of that. Some people might find learning to drive really easy. I didn't. I struggled, especially in manual. I did manual for like 1.5 years, foolishly, and then I moved to automatic. And then in a fraction of that time, I became test ready. Because when I stopped doing manual, my confidence was just couldn't be any lower. And then when I started automatic, my instructor, bless him, he really helped me get it back up. I owe him. Brilliant. But yeah, so 17-year-old me started to learn to drive. 18-year-old me carried it on. 18-year-old me passed the theory, but couldn't pass the actual test because he wasn't test ready. 19-year-old me finally did what 17 and 18-year-old me couldn't do. So yeah, just goes to show, if you keep going, you can do it. Just don't invoke the sunk cost fallacy. But yeah, it's the biggest achievement of my life. I am very happy I've done it. I've got that above my bed because I am always going to remember that. Possibly my biggest achievement ever. And yeah, but those were the main things that happened during those 3 weeks that I was in Cardiff. Also, today on the 16th of August was the day that I finally moved everything out of my accommodation. I put most of my stuff back here. I haven't done a video where all my stuff's been... I've done a video where I've been filming in here for months. It's always been in my accommodation. But I'm back till next academic year, of course, anyway. But I've got to have all the stuff that's from my room normally and all the stuff that's normally in my accommodation all in this room. So at the moment, it's a little bit packed. But I haven't finished unpacking all my stuff away yet. There's still a bit to go. I wanted this to be somewhat nice. It's not the nicest it's ever looked. But you might recognise some of the stuff from my accommodation set out, or layout if you will, back on my shelves. Some stuff I didn't bring to my accommodation, like these books. These are a reconstruction of Chicago that we did in last year, 2023. It's the photos and the script. It's the photos matched with the script, so like a photographic reconstruction of it. And photo albums. I love my photo album. Yes, my photo albums. I got another one in a bag somewhere. I don't know where it is. But I do love my photos. But yeah, finally moved out of my accommodation. I've still got the room until the end of the month. But I don't want to give the fob in yet, because I might use it for other acting jobs. If I've got them, then it's easier to just stay in Cardiff, isn't it? For the night. But until then, that's the end of this year's series, really. The end of my first year in university. It's all tied up. It's all finished. And we move on to year 2. And in year 2, things are going to be more serious, I think. Because whereas what we did in year 1 was busy, none of it counts towards my overall uni grade. Which is quite disappointing. I wish we could choose, even if it's like a small amount. Like, whether what we did this year could be like 10% of the overall grade, or, well, yeah, so 10%, which would make year 2 and year 3 slightly less, or have the option of having just, as per normal, year 2 and year 3 count only. But hey ho, we live on. But yeah, in year 2 things are going to actually count. I'm going to be in a cluster with classmates, so they'll probably end up hearing when I record, and other stuff will happen. But only time will tell. And until then, that is the end of this year's series. Thank you all for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe. Have a good day. Don't forget to drink hot chocolate. Stay safe. And from me, it is goodbye for now.